Do it.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is CaseStudyQB, and we are the political junkies, and we getting right into it. Let me say what's up to my peoples: John, Rendon, Carlito, Gabe, Felipe, and let me say what's up to my peoples. John, how you doing?
I'm good. AOC is gonna deserve all the criticism she's gonna get.
Oh man, AOC's about to get flamed tonight. We needed some backup. Well, we got Felipe for backup for AOC, right? So we're gonna get to it. Bendon, how you doing, my man?
Let's go, Optic.
Yeah. All right, Carlito, how you doing?
Yo, doing good, man. Pop the Trunk Productions.
Pop
right
that
now.
trunk. All right. Gabe, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing good, good to hear from you.
Uh-oh, is that my mic? You like talking about my mic? Is that how it sound right now? Oh man, guys, everybody, Holly Horn is in the building in the chat. Holly Horn, tell me how my mic sounds. Let me know. Felipe, how you doing, my man?
Oh, you don't want to know.
I'm good. I'm chilling.
You chilling?
Dealing with the quality here.
Yeah.
He's ready to defend his fellow centrists.
Listen, Hallie's gonna love today's show because we know how she feels about AOC. So today's gonna be a good show for her.
This one goes out to her.
All right. So I'm still. We had a little bit of technical difficulties. That's why we started a little late, and I gotta work on some things. So I'm gonna go straight to Carlito's rapid fire. Carlito, are you ready?
I'm ready, baby.
All right, my man. Jump right into it.
All right, let's go. Number one. Big chunks of corporate tax cuts end up in executives' pockets by John Schwartz at the Intercept. So a new study finds that recent tax breaks may be worth hundreds of billions in personal boodle for corporate royalty. Now, first of all, what the hell is a boodle? I had to Google that. So it's counterfeit money or bribes, as they mentioned in the article. Second of all, corporate money in their pockets. But third of all, this is different because this is like first study of its kind. The author, Grinnell College assistant professor of economics, Eric Orn, examined the pay of 31,879 executives at 2,794 publicly traded companies from 1998 to 2012. His results show that for every dollar in reduced corporate taxes from two types of tax cuts, compensation for the top 5 executives at the companies increased by 15 to 19 cents. So for every dollar in tax cuts, they get 15 to 19 cents out of it just for the top pay of the executives. Who's surprised? Anybody?
Yeah.
Bueller? Okay. All right, I figured. Number 2, Biden steps up federal efforts to combat domestic extremism by Zolan Cano-Youngs and Nicole Hong at the New York Times. So the administration has taken a series of steps to prioritize dealing with white supremacists and militias, especially after the Capitol riot on January 6th. This is welcome and a great departure from Trump, whose Homeland Security Department was accused of ordering the modification of intelligence assessments to make the threat of white supremacy appear less severe and including information on left-wing groups to align with Trump's messaging. But it's also a departure from Obama, who backed away from investigating and reporting on white militias because he was honestly scared politically. For example, in 2009, Homeland Security was ordered to rescind a report warning the U.S. military veterans were vulnerable to recruitment by extremist groups. So at least Biden is doing something good.
Yeah, I want to jump in on this, Carlito, real quick, because I think that, and also let me know if my mic is better this time also. But
it sounds too low.
It sounds too low. Let me see. How you sound now? How it sound now?
All right, we got to deal with it.
We're going to have to deal with it.
You got to use sign language to
get away.
So basically, this is what I want to talk about with this article, right? You have the FBI, you have all our different intelligence agencies that are supposed to be looking out for the people, for the interest of the people. So all these white supremacists that are violent, luckily for the Michigan governor, they did find about that plot and they were able to thwart it. But when it comes to all these other white supremacists, they keep failing at finding out about these guys. And yet, when it came to the Black Panthers, who were people who trying to feed the poor, feed the children in their neighborhood, trying to have community services, they were all over them like white on rice, right? But now with the insurrectionists, with that happening, now they're talking about new laws. They need new surveillance. They need new things passed. When you have people like AOC, Rashida Tlaib, as in that article, they stated 8 people signed, including Rashida Tlaib and AOC, signed a letter saying we don't need any new surveillance laws. We don't need any new powers to surveil our citizens. We already have everything on the books that we need. So it seems like these organizations like the FBI keep failing up. When they don't accomplish what they're supposed to do, they get more powers. Like, why are they incentivized? We're incentivizing them in the wrong way. That's what I'm trying to say. Go ahead, Carlito.
Yeah, man. Agree 100%, man. Because you know they're going to end up using it on us at the end. So article number 3, start the AOC hate. AOC among most ineffective lawmakers in Congress, according to study by the staff of the Jerusalem Post. So among all Democratic lawmakers, AOC was ranked 230th out of 240 congressional Democrats in terms of effectiveness, according to a report by the Center for Effective Lawmaking. So, you know, the article is an obvious hit piece, with the first clue being that they wouldn't even link to the study. But I went to the, you know, the first of this website also is full of right-wing crap. If you look at all the other articles, they pulled up
They
there.
also have a typo. It says 230th out of 2040. Not sure if that was intentional.
Yeah, 230 out of 240 out of the Democrats. But, you know, we want to, you know, be fair. So I went and found the source. And guess what? According to the terminology they use, this is correct. I don't know if I put a picture of their case. I don't know if you could put what the formula is like for what they, how they calculate this thing.
Okay.
But of course, by the same metrics, Bernie Sanders was 3rd from last among Democratic senators, and Marco Rubio is the GOAT. So
you see it? You see it
the
there,
least
Carlito?
effective or the most effective?
the most effective. Rubio is the most effective.
No way.
Senator.
That
According to-
child? No.
hey, they just care about what bills go through, regardless of.
The place
you
is
know,
called Jerusalem
content.
Post.
They're not counting it. They're not putting too much context into it. Except that they do downgrade if it's like, you know, naming a post office or something. So
They lost all their
yeah,
case
so
Rubio.
that's what I talk about. I'm all for real hate, not the fake hate. Fake hate.
No, Marco Rubio. I have some real hate for Marco Rubio. I genuinely, I hate that man.
Yeah, if Marco Rubio is the best and Bernie Sanders is the 3rd worst,
Something to laugh.
then
You
you know
already
something
know.
wrong with that terminology.
Yep. Somebody check the formula.
Yeah.
Bernie
All right,
Sanders
number
has
4.
named way more mailboxes.
Supreme Court erases ruling against Trump over his Twitter account, by Tugger Higgins at CNBC. A lower court ruled that since Trump was using Twitter as an official government channel of communication, it was unconstitutional for him to block users. The Supreme Court says that this case is moot since Trump is no longer president. And to be fair, the group that brought the suit also said that the case is moot, but only because Trump got kicked out of Twitter for, you know, inciting violence, you know, riots. But in my extremely authoritative legal opinion, they could have just dismissed the case, but by vacating the former ruling, they are giving Trump an out on being, you know, basically two-faced hypocrites about deplatforming. At least this is what I gather personally from a statement by sellout white supremacist apologist Clarence Thomas. This is my title for him. And this is what he said. Respondents have a point. For example, that some aspect of Mr. Trump's account resemble a constitutionally protected public forum, Thomas wrote, but it seems rather odd to say that something is a government forum when a private company has unrestricted authority to do away with it. So basically, conservatives don't like private corporations until they do, and the platforming, but free speech, what the hell knows? They're just hypocrites.
Very much.
Yeah.
So, 5th story. This news publisher quit Facebook. Readership went up, by Shannon Vaughn at NPR. So this is a great story on gambling and also for news publishers. On the gambling part or entrepreneurship is Sinead Boucher. She was CEO of Stuff, New Zealand's largest news publisher. Things were looking terrible for them financially due to the pandemic. So she expected the Australian conglomerate who owns Stuff to shut it down. So she offered $1 to buy it, and they accepted. So she owned a whole publishing company in New Zealand for $1. So that is amazing. But if you guys remember, there was a lot of drama between Facebook and news sites regarding paying for leaks in Australia. So Boucher, who was already uneasy with Facebook due to how they allow hate to proliferate on the site, stopped posting on Facebook and Instagram altogether for a month as an experiment, even though almost a quarter of Stuff's traffic came from social media and mainly from Facebook. It's been over 8 months. Traffic went up, reader donations went up, and the newsroom felt a positive impact. It's a quote from the article. We can definitely see a change in the way people react to us and talk to us, she said. Hearing anecdotally from journalists, they feel like they've been able to get interviews they would not have gotten before. They feel that it has contributed to people trusting us more, thinking about us as an organization with a clear set of values. So, that should be a lesson for other companies, man. If you get out of Facebook, people trust you.
Yeah.
I'm very passionate about this too, because even we're on YouTube right now, but there's been a significant hit to a lot of commentators over the past 2 years plus, where traffic is going down and new subscriptions are going down to certain YouTube channels. And one of the most hit ones has been Secular Talk, where he was skyrocketing up. His content hasn't changed. He stays relatively clean. He's not doing anything crazy, conspiracy theories. And all of a sudden it plateaued out. And that's literally a result of the algorithm. Whereas more content that's leaning a lot towards more mainstream and the mainstream media, their accounts are getting all the recommendations. And if you see your autoplay on YouTube, you can see this. I go on any Secular Talk video and I never even get another Secular Talk video in the playlist. The next one is always a CNN or MSNBC, or if I'm lucky, the furthest left I'll get is like Roland Martin, and that's still pretty much MSNBC. So there's a active war going on, and the only way to get out is to create your own destiny, like this outlet has decided to do. And a lot of other progressives too are being effective, and they're starting Patreons. They're doing what they can, because you get a lot of blocks that are happening with no warning, a lot of channels being taken down, like what happened to Harlan's Media recently. When you have your fate in someone else's hands, they control how much you eat. And if you are going to say anything controversial, you're going to get kicked out the algorithm.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I agree with you 99%.
Yeah, Palito wants to be platform.
All right, so that's it for the rapid fires, gentlemen. Only one more thing, one story that I didn't put in a rapid fire, but everybody knows by now. MLB pulled out of Georgia for the All-Star game, so tennis clap for them.
Yeah, that's very interesting stuff. What you think about that? What's going on over there in your state, Carlito?
Me personally, I'm all for it. I know there are some people that think it would hurt economically, but I don't know too much, because the stadium already, it was in the old stadium was already in downtown Atlanta. A lot of people of color live there, whatever. They moved it to Gwinnett County up north, where the demographic is a lot different. So I don't know how much is going to hurt the people that are hurt by the voting restrictions in the first place. So I don't know so much about that. Maybe there's some leftover from hotels and things like that, but
a lot of it they have to do. A lot of it was the players. The players say they weren't going to go. Like all the African American and Latino players, for the most part, even white players, they were like, "We're not showing up. If you guys keep this in Atlanta, like you're gonna have an all-star basically with bench players, because they weren't going there." So the commissioner did great, because he pulled out quick. But it also was the pressure from the players.
Yeah, that's correct. It was the players and the Players Association that first started talks about this, and kind of forced their hand, because if the players don't show up, they're not going to have a game.
Exactly. All right, let's get started with some trivia questions, and let's start with the fun. And then after we do this, we're going to go to the chat to give some love to the people in the chat room. So here we go. Case Study QB episode 34. I can't believe 34 episodes going by. We're going to be doing 2 no-call zones discussion. Can progressives win seats retiring Republicans have or are going to retire from? And because of also Republican infighting. And then the second discussion is, what is a faux progressive and how much should we support faux progressive? So I think that's going to be interesting. I'm going to show a video for that as well. So here's the first trivia question. Or not question, but the first person. Who's under this mask? Can anybody tell who is under this mask? I'm going to go back quick because I know if it was me, I wouldn't know who this is. But I'm saying I'm doing these people for a reason. So here's the first person. Elisa Slotkin. And she is...
That's very vague.
I know, right?
Yeah.
She's a former
You're getting
CIA...
more and more obscure.
She's a very...
Maybe somebody from Michigan would know.
But guys, this is for a reason, and you're going to see later on, right? But she's a former CIA agent that's now in Congress, and this is her in Iraq. All right, so now I'm going to go through the next person. I might as well just go through the next person. And I've done this person before, so you guys might know who this is. Anybody remember who this is?
I don't know. That looks like Skinny Hillary.
No.
It does look like Skinny Hillary.
All right, so this is Abigail Spanberger, right? And another former CIA agent. All right, and she's the person that right after the election she was on the call and notoriously blaming defund the police and blaming all the progressives because of all the moderates that lost. But again, E. Heller, and by the way, I'm gonna come back to the chat room, but E. Heller, shout out to you. I see you on Harlan's Media, and then you was on the show with Jen Perlman, and now you're here. So I appreciate you even more than everybody else because you always everywhere.
Oh, snap.
No, I was just kidding. Much love to everybody, though.
Fighting words.
All right,
Somebody's about to get canceled.
So that's it. I'm going to come back to that person. Matter of fact, you know what? Let's go to the reason why I bring up these people, and it's going to continue with the AOC pylon. Let's go to this question: which congressperson is giving money to the CIA Democrats?
Wow, I wonder who it is.
All of them?
All of them?
Almost like you didn't
AOC.
preface this question right before asking it.
Yeah. I kind of messed up this question, but you guys know who it is, right? Somebody yell it out.
This is the first time I won't say Richie Torres.
All right, so it's AOC, and AOC, here's an article from the World Socialist website. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez funds the CIA Democrats. All right, and let me see.
Okay, all right, so it's not like straight to the CIA, but okay, but that's still bad.
A slate that includes some CIA Democrats.
Yeah, so those people specifically were the ones that we heard about the controversy where she was donating to moderate Democrats, and then the moderate Democrats were saying, "Oh, we don't want AOC money." But to me, this is my conspiracy theory. I think this is payback, right? A couple, I don't know when it was exactly. I don't know if it was a year ago or 8 months ago. It was a while ago that she pulled out from directly contributing to the DCCC. Right, and I think this is her way around doing that by donating directly to the moderates. And I think you want it. To me, it seems to be a culture that once you get into office, you kind of give money to your other fellow Congress people. So, for example, Barbara Lee, after AOC won her primary and she beat Joe Crowley, Barbara Lee gave her money, right? But Joe Crowley, who he was already out, he knew he was out of office, and he was planning to be Speaker of the House. But because Barbara Lee was running for the position that Hakeem Jeffrey is in right now, he wanted to sabotage. He sabotaged Barbara Lee to get Hakeem Jeffries into the position that he is in right now by telling all the Democrats, Barbara Lee donated to me, donated to AOC, even while I was running, even while we were running. So he lied. But you see how these games are played? They try to use how you donate money to people to try to blow it up into a bigger thing, even though I still think she should have never donated to moderates.
Wait, so are you justifying her behavior?
I'll justify it. She wants her team to win. She has extra ways to do it. She's not campaigning yet.
Mm-hmm. But look,
but you donating money to someone that was like literally blame the left to say that they're the reason why they didn't win, and you and the people don't give you money for you to go and give it to the Democrats.
All right. So now, do you know that is some of those people were the ones that she donated to? Because they were handpicked.
That's what he just
I
said.
don't know. Did she send a check that said specifically, "Oh, this is for you, Spanberger"?
No, like,
Mwah.
yeah.
And give
Like,
it a
I mean,
little
no, he sent to
lipstick
like
on the
the
envelope?
CIA. She
That's
sent to
what-
the CIA Democrats, but did she send to? Because you just said the people that were blaming the left.
That's what Case just said. Case just showed those two people, and then
No.
it just said that AOC was.
Nah, he didn't say that.
That's what I said.
No, yeah, those two people were part of the group that she donated $5,000 to.
Yeah,
There's a whole bunch of
right.
pay
people.
attention.
Yeah, that she donated money to, but
Yeah.
you also said that those are the people that were blaming the left for losses.
He just told you that
Yes.
the Michigan,
Yes.
the
Yeah,
Spanberger.
Abigail
Spanberger.
Spanberger
was-
was one. Yes.
Carlito, wake
But-
up.
Like I was saying, obviously to defend her and be a contrarian, which is why I'm on here.
Well, I don't want you to be a contrarian. Tell your opinion. Give your opinion.
No, this is actually my opinion. I think
Okay.
that'd be difficult.
Okay. Go ahead.
No, I mean, it's her money. She didn't write a check that says Abigail Spanberger, like put a wax seal on it, a little bit of lipstick on the envelope. No. She wrote just a check to a Democratic organization that happened to include CIA Democrats. I don't think there's something like inherently wrong with that.
So let me jump in here real quick because I want to point out something, and I'm going to show you guys this picture. So this is Nabila Islam. Hopefully I pronounced her name right. She ran in Georgia last time against that person that I showed earlier. The first, not Abigail Spanberger, but let me see. I think she ran against this person right here.
Skinny Hillary. No.
Yeah, this person here. And so AOC endorsed her, Nebula Aslan. She was Medicare for all. She's, progressive, and AOC endorsed her. But now she's giving money to the person that beat her, the moderate that beat her in the campaign. So what if Nebula Islam wants to run again? It seems like AOC is already supporting the moderate in the race. What you guys think about that?
AOC's wrong, man. Like,
Can she not give
be
another
wrong,
$5,000 to the
Yeah.
like?
Would that make it fair for you if she decides to run a campaign and she donates money to the progressive?
If I
guess so.
read the TV correct, right? It says AOC parentheses D and parentheses
Okay.
Yeah.
for Democrat.
Okay.
Yeah. I think you got it right.
Yeah, but
No,
that's
no,
a problem. That's a
This-
problem because we, most of us in this group here, we don't really like the D that much. The
Yeah,
Democrats.
all right.
Yo,
So-
Gabe, you're super
Hey, yo.
silent, man. Where's Gabe's
So
fire
if it's
at?
a moderate, I understand her bypassing the DCCC. I'm okay with that. I'm donating straight to people. Now, donating to certain moderates that are against the things that we believe in, I'm against that 100%. If I was being kind, I would say she's being maybe petty, or she's like giving them in order to stain them with her stench, like
I don't think
socialism
that's
stench
it.
on purpose.
I don't
But
think so.
I don't think that's the case. But that'll be like the only way that I could like excuse it. But
Listen,
right now, there's some people that
you know
we
what
shouldn't
it's
be
gotta
supporting.
be?
Period.
No,
It's just not to be a conspiracy guy. It's got to be just like, hey, play this game and you'll move forward.
No,
That's
Play
what I
this game,
think
you'll
it
get a
is.
committee seat.
I think
Play
that's
Play
what
this
it
game and
is.
you'll get a step forward. Like
AOC is trying to become the female Bernie. She's
the
trying
next AOC is trying to be the next
or
Nancy Pelosi.
even worse, the
Yes.
Latina Elizabeth Warren. She's
I agree
trying
with
to
John. I agree
go
with
and get
John.
nothing done.
How's that word that Pelosi?
Listen. I agree with
Latina
Felipe.
Pelosi.
I agree with Felipe, and I agree with John. I think this is the culture of being in Congress: is that you donate to your fellow Democrats. And what we know about Nancy Pelosi, how she became Speaker of the House, because she was a prolific money raiser. She was able to raise money and get favors. So go ahead, John.
We always sit in this show and we always defend AOC when she needs to be defended, and we tell people, like, obviously nobody's here like canceling and saying like, oh, whatever. But at the end of the day, I guarantee you, and I would love to see her next fundraising numbers. I would love to see it. The people that give her money are not giving her money for her to give it to Central Democrats. That's now the reason why I don't care about the whole your team and stuff like that. And especially people that go in there and blaming progressives for the reason why they lost. And I get it. But what I seen from AOC lately is like that watered down lesser of two evils crap that we constantly getting. Right now, she's like defending or whatever she needs to defend. And the reason why people, I guarantee you, even if Easy was here, and maybe I'm speaking for him, and maybe I'm wrong, but I guarantee you, the reason why he didn't vote for her and send her to Congress is for her to do what she's doing. Like, yeah, there's times that we defend, like, yeah, she got to play nice. She voted her. She didn't force the vote. She didn't do everything. Yeah, sometimes her hands are tied. But this one, she deserved every criticism that she's going to deserve. She deserved it.
Yep. All right, 100%, 100%. Let's go to the chat room, guys. And I'm going to let Carlito or somebody who's been doing, if you get chatting. I wanted to give a shout out to Alan Amberster. Also, my man Neat is in the building. And go ahead.
Alan, right? I agree with him. What can't he donate, or not? Can't she donate money to both of them, both the progressive and the moderate?
That's the point of that.
Don't give her money for her to give it to Center Democrats.
So how do you know that she gave it to them? She gave your $20 to that person.
That's a good point, though, yo. She gets a lot of grassroots support. She gets a lot of grassroots support, man.
Yeah, once the money's in the bucket, it's indistinguishable.
Mm-hmm.
So Izzy's in the chat right now, and he said that he's so unhappy with this. He's about to run for New York 14.
Yeah, baby, Izzy.
He's not happy right now.
We got you back.
AFC standing.
Listen, I would love to us like in the next show.
Holly is saying it's all payback.
It's
it's funny to hear, right? Because we talk, or at least Case brings up political strategy.
Yeah.
If someone else does this, we applaud them. Hey, they're being strategic on donating to these to tie their name to this.
Nope.
But
no. I don't know.
Again, I'm coming in new.
So
you sound like Felipe right now.
I sound like someone who doesn't follow politics.
Listen, let me tell you what I think. Let me tell you one thing.
Hold on, guys. Let me jump in here. First Carlito, then John, and then Felipe. Go ahead, Carlito.
Listen, this is what I think right now. As progressive, I don't like it. But like I said last show, I'm with the inside outside. Now we supported her because we thought she was going to be more outside than inside. If it was a different person, we wouldn't be as upset. We'd like, well, they're going to do what they're going to do or whatever. So in general, I would say like no calzone, but specifically to her, that's not why some of us gave her money. We don't like that. So if it was somebody else, it's cool. I like the inside outside strategy. I'm cool with that. I'm not like a burn it all down type person, but we need our people to be our people. We need the inside, the outside, not somebody to be a kind of flip flopper.
Yeah. John, go ahead.
Yeah. I would love for us, find a way when the next, her next quarter fundraising thing comes up. I would love for us to see if we go up or down. And I think if it does go down, it's a telling of her grassroots kind of like just tired of it, not giving her money because like some of us
it might go up. She might get money from some corporations or something.
It'll be interesting. If she start accepting corporation money, then we know that.
Oh, it's a wrap after that. Felipe, go ahead, my man.
Y'all are ridiculous. I swear to God, you guys are talking about
this? Go ahead, Felipe.
You guys are talking about arguments that are like 3 steps removed from what we're talking about. Like you guys have gone to like, oh, her fundraising is going to go down because she gave money away, and she might start accepting money from corporations. And that's so far removed.
Are you paying attention?
We said it would be interesting if that would happen. We want to know what the numbers are like in the future. Nobody's saying it's going to happen.
Nobody's saying it's going to happen. People are saying it will be like for us. We should track when she report her next quarter. We should track it and see. Nobody's saying that it's going to go like Carlito said. Could easily go up, so it could stay the same. But that should tell us something. So pay attention.
What would it tell you if it goes down 2%? Does that mean anything? Is that an arbitrary number?
Well, we don't know. We're gonna find out. We're gonna talk about it on the show.
You know the amount of money. Do you know the amount of money AOC brings from grassroots, like from individual people that donate to her on a monthly basis?
Significant amount. Yes, I understand.
Yeah.
So if people stop it, it will tell us something.
Interesting.
But that was already besides my original point. You guys
get money.
You guys applaud martyrs, and you like turn your nose up at like steps taken to play the game in any form whatsoever.
Wrong.
No, see,
guarantee-
now
That's
you're
not
the
true.
one that's not listening right now, because that's exactly what I didn't say.
No,
I
no,
said
no,
that
no.
I'm okay with inside outside, but for somebody that we thought was going to be an outside person to turn into an inside person,
But
that's
why-
disappointing.
But why can't she be an effective inside-outside person? Like that's such a weird
Listen,
way. Because
I gotta
if she
jump
becomes,
in. I've been pretty quiet
No.
this whole time.
if she becomes more
I gotta
powerful
jump
with
in.
this, I'm gonna
Time.
finish my point because you
Vito.
just started
Hold
talking.
on.
Vito, you've been talking for like 20 minutes and you're saying the same thing.
Felipe,
All right.
Felipe,
I'm
finish your point.
I'm gonna jump in
and then
and then
Gabe.
quiet this whole conversation.
All right, Gabe,
Uh,
Gabe.
I'm gonna continue talking, and then if it
Gabe,
sounds
Gabe.
obnoxious, it's
Okay.
gonna
I
be
think
a,
it's clear.
Am I
is
muted?
that, again,
Am I muted right
I'm
now?
not playing
No.
the game, which is what's making.
Hold on.
Can you force mute Gabe, moderator?
Wait, hold on. Am I muted? Can nobody hear me right now? Like, Lord have mercy. I'm trying to moderate, so please, when I jump in, just listen, and then I'll direct. Felipe, finish your point, and then Gabe, you have the floor.
There is no reason to applaud someone being morally correct, but literally ineffective.
Oh my god.
When someone has more power, they can make bigger moves. When someone has no power, they can name a USPS office. Go on.
All right, go ahead, Gabe. The
So
floor
you
is
let
yours.
Felipe talk all that time for
You
nothing.
interrupted my point that I was jumping in for that.
Just say what you got to say, Gabe.
What's your genius point?
All
Gabe?
right. The reason Felipe loves AOC strategy is because he loves Elizabeth Warren. He loves ineffective people that are trying to play a rigged game. She's never going to win the game playing by their rules. And as somebody with the platform she has, the power she has, and the grassroots support she has, she needs to stop playing their game, because she could be the best fundraiser. She could be the best soldier that is voting with them every time. And they're never going to do anything for her. Never. They're not going to vote with her. They're not going to give her $15 minimum wage. They're not going to give her anything. And if you want to see another person who is Felipe's other favorite politician, is Elizabeth Warren. She did
Joe
everything
Biden.
right. She shut up. She didn't endorse Bernie Sanders. She was just waiting. They told she's going to be the VP. They told she's going to be something. And what did she end up with? She ended up with nothing, because they said stay in your Senate position and shut up. And that's what they're going to do 10 times worse to AOC. So, and she's not even a senator. She's a house. A house person, you can get them for a dime a dozen. So if she doesn't use the platform now while she has it, this might not last forever. She has so many millions of followers. She has so many people that are invested in her, that want to see her do well and want to see her bring change to Washington. And she's not going to bring change playing the same game of kissing babies and shaking hands and trying to make backroom deals with people who would stab you if they could. Literally, if they could take her out, they probably would. These are not her friends. And the easier that she does or the sooner she realizes that, she can now get her progressive people together within the House and create a block that then can block legislation and get some of their things passed. Because that's where the power comes. The power comes, as you can see, like the Joe Manchins are doing. That's where the power comes. It doesn't matter if you're one person or two people or five people, but you have to have that block that can say, you know what? I'm tired of this. We're not playing nice, and we're going to now block everything that comes through. I don't care if it's a post office name. We're blocking everything that comes through until you give us something that has 60%, 70% popularity. And then we can make moves, because now she's going to have, the people behind them. If you back these positions that are backed by the majority of the country, Republican, Democrat, Independent, the people are then going to be behind her, and they're going to be hearing it directly from her on live streams, on Twitter, etc. So she has the pulpit now to get this coalition together and pass, and she's wasting it.
100%. All right, let's go to the chat room. Izzy agrees with you. He gives you the thumbs up. I agree with you. Let me just give a shout out.
Go to that comment from Alan, because Alan's talking about that what we all been hating on AOC all year, and I think that's basically wrong, because we have not been hating.
Oh man, you haven't been watching all our episodes.
Jimmy Dore has.
No. We give AOC credit where credit's due, and we have defended her when we needed to.
Gabe's a little hater, though. You know, the rest of us, we give credit due, but Gabe's a little hater.
I was on AOC before any of y'all, but now again,
now you hopped off the train.
E. Heller in the chat. She's on her second term already. When are we gonna hold her? When she's already been there 20 years, we're gonna be like, yo, any day now, any
So
day
she's
now.
been there, what, 3 years?
Yeah.
What do you, how much do you expect her to be? What other politician that's been there for 3 years has done a similar amount as she has changed the narrative as much as she has?
Yeah,
Name
we
one other
we
one.
gotta stop putting our hope into politicians.
What-
you know,
what
so
one
much
person?
Because
Yeah.
you know, yeah, she's disappointing, but we can't expect her to save the country either.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
she's the most popular politician that the left has, and I think she has gone, like we know, like she's definitely have gone a little to the center. And even when she talks about that whole border crisis, how she's like, "Whoa, it's not the same," and you know, it's not
the same.
It's not the same as Trump, but it's still wrong. But she's trying to.
And it is still wrong. You go in with the whole little clip section when her whole video was about how wrong it is.
I seen it, but what I'm saying is she's still trying to like justify it.
Nah, she just made a little snippet at the beginning saying that there are differences, that it's not the same, and then for 95% of the video she was saying how messed up it was.
I saw the video. I didn't see the clip. I saw the video and stuff with that. But what I'm saying is still she's.
Because you gotta be clear, man. It's like
right.
I don't want to be like these other people that don't understand nuance. You know, it can't be all black and white and cancel anybody that doesn't agree with us 100%. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, matter of fact, I don't like it when people generalize all of us, because like how people say, oh, TYT that, or political junkies this, everybody has their own opinion. So even when you say that we've been hating on AOC, some people have had opposition opinion, and some people have like Felipe has stuck up for her.
Well, Alan fixed his comment. He was talking about her position, not us. Yeah. I think he made a comment of that.
Yo, Gabe,
that was my fault.
Izzy gave you a thumbs down now.
Well, see, that's the thing, is that he was saying, because I said I was on AOC before all of y'all, but he is not on this panel today. So of course he probably saw her first. And,
he's in her district.
Out of you guys, I was definitely way ahead of everybody on AOC. Thanks to my man Jimmy Dore, who put her on way before anybody even knew who she was.
All right, so let's go on to the next segment.
The most annoying type of people are the type of people who are like, "Oh yeah, I was on that before everyone else. I'm cooler than you."
All right, let's move on to the next segment. I'm gonna try.
Did we give shout out to everybody on the chat?
There's a lot. The chat is on fire right now.
Yeah, but at least let's shout out Holly Horn. Who we got? Alan Amster,
Nancy
Bancher, Izzy in the house.
Yeah,
you know, we got people. They going off, and you know, again, just like we are not all monolithic, neither is the chat, man. They're on different wavelengths.
Yo,
and that's
Nancy,
cool, you know. That's why.
Let's highlight a couple comments. So
go ahead.
Nancy, in response to what have other candidates done in their first term, and so she said some of those Tea Party candidates got stuff done, and I think they were doing what I'm looking at them for inspiration, because as a small group, they were able to hold up a lot of stuff. You guys don't come close to hating on AOC. That's Nancy Bancher, and I think that's important because, you know, as much as I'm saying, like, I don't want her to do bad, I'm trying to give the best that I can, constructive criticism. I'm not going to just tear her down for the sake of tearing her down. I don't think
you can conceive that as
I want her to be better.
Yeah, but I mean, also, you know, good point about the Tea Party, because that's something that I said multiple times, that I want us to have our venture, the Tea Party, but it's also be clear, the Tea Party really didn't get stuff done. They just were able to block a lot of things, and that's a lot easier. Now, we would have been liked if the squad or Bernie would have, you know, blocked legislation to make it better, like at the $15, but we are not like them. You know, the Tea Party and the Republicans, they're okay with letting people starve and die.
What you guys think about this?
Honestly, that's our weakness on the progressive left. That's our weakness, because, you know, when it comes push to shove, if it comes to the last minute, they're going to pass things that we don't like because there's a few good things in there. The Republicans would rather say, well, just burn it all down, forget everybody, let everybody die, and we're just not that evil yet.
But we out here, we going on 10 years on this, right? It's like, oh, well, so when if? Like, we're going to be, what, 30, 32? We're going to be here? And
what I'm saying is, you know, it is when it not wait until the last minute. Now wait, like with this infrastructure bill, put the pressure on right now. Don't wait to the last minute when you have to pass something no matter what. They could start from right now. And the thing that AOC is not doing effectively is using her bully pulpit, because she's so popular. She could be on, she don't even need to be on TV channels. She could just go on her Twitch, go on Twitter, go on IG, and they're gonna have to cover her if she just goes out there and say what we want to hear.
What you guys think about this? There was an article saying that AOC among most ineffective lawmaker in Congress, according to the study. And
yeah, that's what we talked about earlier. That's crap.
That was crap. That was part of the
Also from the
rapid
Jerusalem
fire.
Post.
One last point on AOC. It will be interesting because I always try my best to always look at like how people change and stuff. It would be interesting to see if Nina Turner wins, how AOC, if any, changes. See if there's some pressure there, right? Because from my understanding and from things, like Nina's going there, she wins. I don't think she's gonna be like AOC and like she's not gonna play no games. And it'll be interesting to see if
I agree with you, John. I think it'd be really interesting to see what she can get in and actually get accomplished.
So this is my prediction because we had a little glimpse of certain things, right? So when I was wondering why Bernie Sanders endorsed Stacey Abrams, right? Because when she ran for governor, Hillary Clinton and Bernie endorsed her. So I was like, that's a weird thing to happen. How did both people endorse her? I found out later that I think it was Killer Mike who said that it was Nina Turner who convinced Bernie to endorse Stacey Abrams. Now, is that her trying to get Bernie to get some, African American votes or support by her telling him to do that? But it is clear that Stacey Abrams is not what I would call my kind of progressive, right? And I see Gabe had his finger. Go ahead, Gabe.
No, I was just gonna say it was not related to that, but my comment was more: imagine, like you see what we do here, and Case does so much work to bring these people with the mask, and we talk about how terrible they are as legislators. Imagine that same segment on AOC's platform, where she's going, Joe Manchin's garbage, and we're not gonna say it any other way, and vote this guy out. Like really going for the jugular. She's not gonna lose her seat. People will be like, yes, be honest. Be like, who's holding it up? These are the 7 Democrats, just the same way CaseStudyQB did on this channel with our subscriber base that we have. Multiply that by the millions, and that would be AOC doing that. And that's what we want to see. We want to see her just calling out the bad and get to fight and use that bully pulpit, like Alito was saying as well.
What is it that they did to Marjorie Taylor Greene? They just basically cut her balls off and said, no, you can't play in here anymore. Do you think they would just let that slide the second you start playing like that? You'd have a target on your back.
But she has the target in the back already. They put her on timeout all the time. Nancy's like, go to the wall. They
took her committee seat. She did everything that they wanted, and they took her committee seat. And they gave it to, who? They gave it to a woman that said she wasn't going to vote for Pelosi.
Yeah, that was Abigail Spanberger, I think. Oh no, it was somebody else. I think it was somebody else. No, you're right.
No, somebody else.
Rice.
I think it was
her last name was Rice.
Staten Island. I think the Staten Island representative, something like that. They gave it to someone else from New York.
But to be a little contrarian though, and since Green is from Georgia too, a lot of these people that are so bombastic on the right, they're not gonna get anything done either. They're there to block things. And they're not going to lose their own seat because they might be popular in their own little area, but they end up being hated by everybody else. And the only thing they really want to do is become famous themselves to run for a larger seat later or, get a TV show or whatever. So that's like with the whole Matt Gaetz thing, he's proud to be not liked by people.
Matt Gaetz is a child child sex trafficker.
But let me ask you this, though. AOC won their district by 74% to 26%, right? So if she's going to run or not run, whatever it is, right? She's pretty comfortable. So she could go outside the box and take the risk that she needs to take, right? Because even if she's going to rerun for her seat, she won by 76%. So people are voting her to go in there and create some chaos in a way. You don't have to go all crazy, but she has to make them feel uncomfortable. And I don't think she has done that. I don't think she's making Democrats feel uncomfortable. Yeah, we go up. Yeah, it's fine. We go after Republicans. We know how bad Republicans are. But she doesn't go bad about those Democrats that are continually to block everything that the people that voted for her and the people want, that we see that the polls is favorable. She don't go after them. She just like, you know,
Yeah,
like she's playing the same playbook that Bernie Sanders has.
I want to throw out one more thing also. I think Nancy said that's the problem. They could crush her if they wanted to, probably pretty ruthless. Now, if you're talking about the establishment crushing AOC, I disagree as far as at least the media establishment. Somehow she's been Teflon Don in the sense of, like, they haven't been able to really demonize her enough where people don't like her. Like, she's been able to speak out on certain things like that, defund the police, and she's got backup from Jamal Bowman, but I don't think they've been able to demonize her like, for example, a Alan Grayson, for example, who's not even in the office anymore.
But I think what she means is probably just as far as her effectiveness of moving legislation or getting committee seats, things like that.
Yeah,
they're able to control that part. You know, she's popular
That's
in
true.
the outside world, but inside, you know, they just hate her.
Yeah, but it's what I'm saying. She's been playing along with them, and they hasn't gotten anything. Like you said, she didn't even get a committee seat. They gave it to someone else, and then after, you know, something, they gave her something. Just be like, oh, here you go. Just be happy about this and go for it. But you know, but again,
so we talking like she's been there for. I don't know if you think 3 years is such a long time. You know, like. If it's not like she's been playing the game from the beginning, I would say maybe half the time, possibly half the time. So, you know, again, I don't like it, but I also don't want to put on her what I wish she was when maybe she never was. You know what I'm saying?
So let me jump back in here because we got to move on. But ironically, I'm going to bring up this trivia question, and ironically, it's going to well, after we get the answer, you'll see what I'm talking about. So here's the question. Did Chuck Schumer and AOC's accomplish their goal to get FEMA's funeral assistance of $9,000 for citizens who died of COVID? True or false?
That's true.
All right. John got it. So the answer is...
Super confident, yeah.
True. So it did go through. So this, I said, is ironic because this is AOC. I think she originated this idea, but I know, you know, we covered this a while ago, and we talked about how Chuck Schumer's afraid of getting primaried from the left from AOC, and so he jumped on board. But this is AOC directly getting things done for not only people in New York, but for all the people across the country who died of COVID. What you guys think?
I mean, we compare her to Bernie. I mean, that's a Bernie type deal thing right there, or getting Chuck Schumer to support, you know, canceling student loan debt. So
but Chuck is doing that for his own interest because Chuck is trying not to have her run against him.
Right, because he sees her, he sees what's up, he sees to read the tea leaves.
Well, hold on, I wanted to throw, while we're on that note, I think it's just so disgusting that, you know, we could pass $9,000 to pay for funeral assistance, but we can't pass Medicare for all during this pandemic. And not only Medicare for all, but if you go deeper into the plan, I think one area, and maybe it would have been while I was out if we talked about it, but the amount of money that was thrown into COBRA specifically, tens of thousands of dollars per individual on COBRA, whereas other countries, for fractions of that, actually cover their people completely for fractions of that $10,000 per capita. But instead, we're putting tens of thousands per person into COBRA, a plan that just, again, inflates the insurance companies. So this is something we haven't talked about at all, and it just jogged my memory when we were seeing this $9,000 for funeral expenses. How about we prevent people from dying as much as possible? Yeah. And we do that through making sure everybody has appropriate health coverage and not funneling all that money to the insurance companies.
No, I agree with you.
We know why.
Yeah.
Who loses money if we do that?
I know we have to move on, but I know in the chat we have some. I think Nancy mentioned that it shouldn't all fall on AOC. I agree. I think, you know, the problem is that the other squad members, they try to be, I guess, you know, this is my opinion. I think they try to be as famous, but they're not. You know, AOC is the most famous politician that the left have, so she's the one that always take the heat because we know that the squad sometimes don't vote the same. So a lot of the time we kind of put it on her to kind of like drive that train. And, you know, and I think also Alan mentioned about the Biden considering the $50K student loan. I don't think that's AOC pushing. I think that's more Elizabeth Warren and Chuck and Menendez and the Senate. I know obviously, AOC push it, but I don't think I wouldn't give her that credit. I think it's more Elizabeth Warren and Chuck pushing.
Go ahead, Felipe. Take a little victory lap.
Yeah,
Felipe.
yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
I was
Felipe.
gonna say that before, but y'all were yelling, and I was like, "Oh yeah, Elizabeth Warren, the one who's been pushing Chuck to 50K. She's useless. Great."
I'm saying though, it's not done yet. I'll give it more credit when it happens.
Let's see
Joe
what happens.
Biden already agreed to
5,000.
10K.
All right. Who
He
said?
said, oh,
Go ahead. Finish your thought, Felipe, and then I go.
okay. He said he agreed to 10K. He's
Yeah.
willing to look at 50K in certain cases for lower income families, but that he would prefer to use the money that would go to the 50K for higher income families getting their loans forgiven and make that for for improving student resources in lower income communities, which is a better investment than paying off the student loans for someone who has the ability to pay them off.
All right, so we'll see what happens in the end. So, who said this tweet? If you paid $120, okay, boom. All right, you got that.
Yeah, I was going to let him read the question, but I know that.
All right, which congressperson joined graduate workers at Columbia University striking for better wages?
Oh man.
Okay, good job. I think that's it.
Let's see.
All right, who's this person?
Hey, Schrader.
Welcome back.
Carlito got it, and that's the person that voted against the $2,000 back in when Trump was still in office. But let's go to our first no cow zone discussion. And that first, we got like 5 minutes left before the show ends. Are you guys good? Or I know Felipe usually got to be out.
Overtime, baby.
Yeah, Felipe, how much time you got, real quick?
5 minutes.
Felipe don't matter. We're going
I'll
overtime.
leave, bro. Y'all can keep
It's
going.
near your computer.
Leave your camera on though, because otherwise the boxes. But anyway, okay. So can progressives win seats? Retiring Republicans are going to be, these incumbents are retiring from, and also because of all the Republican infighting, can we win those seats? Anybody want to go first?
Yeah,
No.
they could win it if AOC gives them the money.
I was waiting. So, not if AOC is donating to Century.
so here's a couple of examples, right? So we got Kentucky, Charles Booker. Well, actually, he's not retiring, but that's a potential seat that we want to get. But over here is the Republicans not seeking re-election. So Pat Toomey, Ron Johnson, Richard Burr, Ron Portland from Ohio. That's one. So Tim Ryan is supposed to be the front runner over there that the establishment wants. And then hopefully we could get Marco Rubio. He's not retiring.
I would die to get Marco Rubio out of the Senate.
Yeah, but
I would give any amount of money.
No, it really depends if the district or the seat is purple enough. Mm-hmm. Because one of the reasons why a lot of Republicans are retiring is because the party's getting so far to the right that they're not even extreme enough to be elected in their own district.
Yeah.
So in those situations, no, it's not going to happen. But in a case where, a Florida maybe could be more of a toss-up depending on the candidate. But in a lot of these areas, it's just they're too far gone.
Man, again, like you have all these politicians, they've probably been there for like 30, 40 years. And they just retire and and I always say this, like, the people will constantly vote for the exact same people, regardless of the party, regardless if they're good or bad. They're like, oh, I'm a Republican, I'm voting for that guy. Screw it. And we the people are the one at fault for constantly continuing to vote for the same people over and over and over, regardless if they're Democrats or Republican. We continue to vote for them, and they sit there until they're like 80, 90 years old, and they can't even do anything.
So wait, everybody's pessimistic that we can't kind of steal, even if it's an establishment or a moderate, even a moderate Democrat. Yeah.
It depends on the seat.
It depends on the seat, but look at the example with Kentucky. Yeah. They had a candidate that could potentially would have done something, would have gave Mitch a run for his money. They put a Chuck and company put all their money back on Amy. And they ran on that New York Times or something poll. They're like, oh, Amy McGraw is like leading Mitch McConnell. And they gave her all that money and Mitch crushed her. So,
but I mean, Booker, I didn't even know about him till you brought him up, honestly. So at least now he has some name recognition. So next time around, starting off early, it could be a different story.
Yeah. And then it goes back to why everything we say, right? Like the big, the Bernie Sanders of the world, the Nina Turner of the world, the AOC of the world, they need to find these candidates that could win race and endorse them and bring them up to people that understand, right? Because Bernie, AOC, and everybody else, Charles Booker, they didn't endorse him until the last minute.
Yeah, definitely.
They probably didn't know who they were or he was either.
The reason I'm pessimistic right now is because Joe Biden won, everybody's asleep right now. Nobody except for us and our people, the viewers, and certain political junkies that are all out there are the ones paying attention. But any casual politics fans are no longer watching. They're back at brunch, and that's not going to get it done in the midterm or in 2024. So we're going to be, if anything, set up for losses coming up in 2022 unless we get something. That's why it's so critical to pass stuff now. If we don't, we're going to end up getting losses in 2022.
Go ahead.
I disagree with you. I don't see the red tide coming. Like, I don't think it's going to be as big of a slaughter as you keep thinking it will be. Maybe I like to be optimistic. Who knows? But I really think
you have not lived through the years of Obama while you were watching it.
Felipe, the only reason I would disagree with you is because Democrats are bad at messaging, right? They should be driven. Like every time they should go on Fox News. They should go in and say like, this is the people that voted against your stimulus check. This is the people, and constantly say every single Republican, and you don't hear that. So whereas the Republicans are going to come in.
Fox News.
But no, you got to go everywhere, and the Democrats don't do that. The Democrats are terrible at messaging. The Republicans are going to go in. Listen, the Republicans. This is what the Republicans are going to do in 2022. They're going to go in and say, "Oh, Biden goes and give free money to student loans, or Biden goes in and try to take your taxes," and they're going to make whatever, and other people going to believe it. And the Democrats, all they're going to say is like, "We can't allow another Trump." We cannot allow another Trump. And they're not going to really get people excited. They're not going to get people excited to go out.
Let me jump in here real quick, Felipe. I'm actually going to defend you a little bit, actually, because my wife she told me when the other day, she was like, yo, it looks like Biden might cancel up to $50,000 of student loan debt. And when I looked into it, like we just discussed, it was just him asking his Secretary of Education to see if he can do an executive order, if it's possible. And I said, hey, if he can cancel my student loan debt, me as a guy progressive that didn't vote for him because I live in New Jersey, I didn't really care for him like that. I said I will give him my vote in the general, not in the primaries, because I'm going to vote for whoever my progressive person, but at least in the general he would have my vote. So if he could continue, if the Democrats can do things to show people in their immediate life that they can change their life, I think we have hope in the midterms.
But they're not doing that. They are terrible at messaging.
John, let Felipe go ahead. Felipe, go ahead, buddy.
All they need to do is survive past COVID. Make sure COVID ends before 2022. If people can not wear masks in the poll lines, they'll remember. They'll be like, "Oh man, do you remember 2020? Wow, that was crazy."
Well, we'll see.
They
gotta put it out there though. They can't just assume they will. Because Republicans will try to take credit for it. They'll say, "Oh, it was Trump's plan." And
Joe Biden not only demolished his goal of 100 million vaccinations in 100 days. He upped it. The last 5 days, he said, "Oh, I'm gonna make it 200 million in my first 100 days."
Dude, people.
Yeah, but I wouldn't make any assumptions, man.
People are not going. People want to hear the message that, and like you said, the Republicans, they run on fear, and they're gonna drive that message home. The Democrats are not going to say that. The Democrats not going to be like, "Oh, we ended COVID. Oh, we did this." The Democrats are just going to go in and says, "Oh, don't vote for the Republicans. The Republicans are bad." If they have the great messages, absolutely, I agree. They will win. They will say, "These people didn't vote for your stimulus check. These people were against COVID. These people didn't care about your family members dying," and drive that message home. They could win because then people will vote outside. But if they just keep saying like Republicans are bad, people will stay home, and the Republicans will go out, and the Democrats will get destroyed in the midterm.
Yes, but it's easier to message after you have something to message about. They're taking the steps to have something in their pocket to talk about.
The stimulus check should be in every billboard that you have. The
I
Democrat
agree.
voted against your money. that the Republicans voted against your money. That should be that should be the message for 2022.
Yeah.
So we've fought a lot on this podcast or disagreed a lot, about the strategy as far as the stimulus, and I think that that's going to be what the mistakes made now, where we go, oh, well, you're worried about people not getting food right now versus you're holding out for $2,000. I didn't make a campaign promise of $2,000. Joe Biden did, and all his surrogates did. And that little cute move of trying to say, well, it's 2,000 total because the 600 and this, who's not going to care about that? It's going to be the voters. And when it comes later on, when they said Joe Biden wants a $15 minimum wage and he could have passed it, but he didn't, because the parliamentarian said he can't do it, that's going to come back and bite. They could be up front running right now. And instead they're just doing what Democrats are known to do. They're just coasting. I do give credit on the vaccinations, much props, but there's a lot of other stuff that's kind of like their saving grace. But they could be, if this was a baseball game, they could be up 10 runs right now. And instead, it's like the Republicans got a guy on second and third with one out, and it's like we're still just right there. It should be a blowout, and we should be demolishing in 2022 with a $15 minimum wage and with 2,000 stimulus checks and even recurring. The Democrats want to get too much into the policy wonkery of this, and then with the kids, you're gonna get this another 300. You have to just make it so it's simple that people could understand, so that you get everyone behind. And then what John said is that then you have to be your own biggest advocate, saying it everywhere and taking everyone else down that voted against it. And every Republican should know that no Republicans voted for that check that you got, because in the small sample sizes that we see, when you tell a Republican, hey, did you know that not one Republican voted for the stimulus check? They go, oh, that's freaking terrible. That's how you get confidence.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that last part, Gabe, is what I was going to say to disagree with you about, saying that they're going to be toast necessarily because of the weak sauce policies that they have right now. Most people probably don't know as much as we do about how much money is supposed to be or whatever. All they know is that they got the stimmy. Those who did anyway. Most people did. I know some didn't. But all they're gonna know is like they got the stimmy. So they're not gonna care about $600 difference that much, unless maybe not debate when they bring it up. But if they just say, hey, we voted for it, they didn't, that's enough to win a couple seats right there. And I wanted to answer to I think it was Holly Horn that said neither party is offering policy. That's not true, because the Democrats are offering policy. It just happens to be weak sauce policy, but they're offering more than Republicans. Republicans are like just obstructionists, and that's it.
So I want to jump in here also real quick, because there's a factor that I don't hear happening or talked about often, that I think starting in July, there's supposed to be a $300 tax rebate, the children tax rebate that's going to be happening, and that's depending on where you are on the income scale. It's either $300 per child or it's, I believe, $250 per child, and that's almost like a universal basic income. And that's how they structured it, that every month for every child that you have, you're going to either get $250 or $300. And I'm curious to see, once people start seeing this money come into their bank accounts or checks coming in every month, they'll be like, what's this? And if the Democrats can say, yeah, that was us from the COVID bill, I'm really curious to see if that's going to help them out as well.
If they have the right messaging, yes, because we know what Republicans are going to do, they're going to take credit for it. And they will go on Fox News and any news thing, and they will say, yeah, I agree with that, and I back that up. And because they know that people are not looking at that.
Hey,
and
John,
the Democrats,
it's not they will, it's they did already. Some of them tried that already.
Exactly. So
that's true.
So the Democrats, if the Democrats have the right message, they would win or like go even further, like increase their seats in the House. But I'm not holding my breath.
E. Heller said that's great for families. What about people without kids? So yeah, I do agree with you. So that's gonna Democrats gotta change people's life, like or directly show that they can change people's life. Because you could say the same argument for people with student loan debt. You could say, oh, not everybody has student loan debt, so what does that matter? So we gotta see how the infrastructure bill is gonna turn out.
But people always talk crap about identity politics, but that's really what everybody does anyway. When you talk about the families. You talk about the middle class. You talk about the taxpayers. You talk about blue collar. You talk about the Christians. You talk about the African Americans. Everything is some kind of identity politics anyway. So I don't, you just gotta give something. You just gotta find a different thing to give to those that don't have families.
So guys,
one last point.
All right, go ahead, John.
I know you're gonna mention a lot of people come 2022 remember that they got the stimmy or not, but there was also a lot of people that remember that they got the $600 and they didn't get the $1,400 because they decreased the requirements. Those people will remember too that you promised me a $2,000 check. I got 600, and then you decreased the requirements, and now I'm screwed. So I'm not voting for you.
Yeah, well, they gotta know that they were supposed to get it in the first place. They gotta know they're supposed to get it in the first place, because who's gonna bring it up? It's not gonna be a Republican, because all you gotta say is like, well, you offer them nothing. I gave you less, but the other people gave you nothing. So who are you gonna go for? Now that could come into effect more in like Democratic primaries, though.
Go ahead, Felipe.
A lot of those people are also going to be receiving that money after tax season this year, because if you looked at the restrictions on the COVID bill, for a single earner, it's $75,000 with like a phase out over the next $5,000, and for a married filed joint couple, it's up to $150,000. That's really just the case. It's not the people who had their income lowered in 2020. First of all, the SBA would pay back self-employed through PPP that would help fund part of what was lost over the course of 2020. And there's just, these steps are very positive, and you guys are just seeing, like, you guys are only seeing the negatives that they're doing wrong, but they're doing so many things right that deserve to be also like.
I think that's the generational divide, is that, when you have a sports team, if you focus on only the things you do well, when it comes to the championship game, you might get rocked. You want to be able to focus on those things. And if your family, if your progressives, if your supporters can't tell you where you can improve, then no one else is going to. The Republicans aren't going to give advice to the Democrats. They're just going to tell them to do things their way. We're giving genuine advice and these things that we want to see to win. We want to win. We don't want to lose. So if we sit here and just circle jerk the Democratic Party all day about all these wonderful half measures they're doing, well, because they did more than Trump, that doesn't get us closer to our goal, and that doesn't help the country. That doesn't help the country.
Felipe always give us the lesser of the two evil like argument.
All right, Felipe, last word on this, and then I'm going to move on. Go ahead, Felipe.
Oh no, I'm just gonna say I agree with the generational divide, but I'm heading out.
Okay, so go ahead and just what to do with your Felipe.
Just leave your camera on.
Yeah. Okay, can you do that?
Oh yeah.
Okay, appreciate it.
Mute yourself.
Appreciate it. So guys, I want to go on to I really want to hit this other discussion.
Hey, can I hit the chat real quick?
Yeah, let's get the chat some love. Go
Yeah,
ahead,
because
baby.
E. Heller was saying it's pretty pathetic how the Dems embrace austerity politics because they're afraid of the GOP. But then she says, I should say they pretend to be afraid. Them's the ones who win general elections. I agree with you. Well, I agree with you that they pretend, but it's because they want to win on their terms. Just like with Charles Booker, we mentioned earlier, they could have won the seat, but they have a progressive to fight back against the corporate wing of the Democratic Party. They'd rather lose to a Republican than have somebody like that in there.
Well, the Democrats, we know the Democrats are basically a Republican with a D next to them.
Yeah. So that's why they're not gonna go all out for the things that we want, because it's not what they want.
Exactly. So let's go to this last no-cow zone discussion. What is a faux progressive? How much support should a faux progressive get from real progressive? And I'm going to tell you what I'm talking about by this video that I'm about to find and play for you guys now.
It's AOC a faux progressive?
Is AOC a full progressive? No, it's actually, okay, here we go. This person right here. Can you hear?
No, without a plan of keeping them safe.
Now, I'm going to move it forward to where I believe it should be. I believe it's here.
America succeeds because we step up and make it succeed.
When you look at the agenda that you support, there are those who would call it pretty progressive. There's that $15 federal minimum wage you support, getting rid of the Senate filibuster. Why have you seemed to be hesitant in interviews to call yourself a progressive?
as my aunt would say, you can call me whatever you want, just don't call me late for dinner.
What do you call yourself?
Politics. I didn't get into politics to call myself anything. I got into politics. Listen, I do not mind being called a progressive. I got into politics to get stuff done for people, to get stuff done. My first job was 12 years old, washing dishes to help my mom pay the bills. I watched.
Blah, blah, blah. All right, that's enough. Yeah, so what you guys think about that? And then I'm going to tell you what I think about it. Go ahead.
So, pretty much, I think these faux progressives, I wouldn't call them a faux progressive. I think that progressive is becoming the new liberal. Everybody wants to call themselves progressive, just like everybody before used to wanted to call themselves liberal. They keep taking all the words and trying to even the Congressional Progressive Caucus until now is the first time where you can actually be held responsible for some votes. You have to vote with them like 2/3 of the time or something like that. So I think we shouldn't support full progressives. I think we shouldn't, and we definitely shouldn't support these Democrats like the Joe Manchins. I think that they do more harm to the party than good. And the people that support them and say, oh, well, they vote with us most of the time. I'd rather you get somebody nasty in there that's going to vote with us none of the time, so that then we can vote that person out and get in a good person. Because we keep playing this long game, and it's going to be 30 years from now, and then maybe we'll pass $15 minimum wage at the point where it should be $30.
Yeah, so this is my opinion on this guy. Like, I can tell he gives me Richie Torres vibes, right? Because they asked Richie, hey, are you going to go join the squad when you get in office? Because he was saying he's a progressive too. And he said, no, I don't consider myself a squad member. Like, what? Like, even though a lot of people on the left have beef with, they call them the fraud squad and things of that nature, we know that the squad embodies who we wish the progressives would be. And for you to go in there and say, no, I don't even want to be what they're doing right now, which is going along to get along with the Democrats. They don't even want to go do that. And then you have this guy here who's saying, no, I don't want to be called a progressive. Like, if he wins, and he's running for the Senate of Pennsylvania. So if he wins, my question is, should we support him? And I'll lead the witness, and I'll say, yeah, we should still support him because that's a seat that a Republican had. But I wouldn't volunteer for him. I might give $5. I want to give $100. Like what Gabe had us do that challenge way back for Jamie Harrison. But go ahead, guys.
What Gabe was thinking.
So, like I said before, I'm inside outside guy. So yeah. I would say, yeah, we'll support him. The thing is, even if with a Joe Manchin, to be extreme, I will support him to an extent. The thing is that once it comes to primaries, gloves are off. We got to get him out of there. But the problem that I have, once, let's say we have a primary, it doesn't go our way. We got Joe Manchin. Cool. We have him. That's a vote for some of our things. The problem that I have, though, is that we allow him to control the party. Like with this $15 thing, why can't we do what he does? He shouldn't have that kind of control. And that's the problem that I have. I wouldn't mind having him so much in there if they wouldn't let him control the bill so much. One guy, when somebody like Bernie, who's one guy, could do the same thing. But, that's, as far as supporting them, I'll say, yeah, but I'll fight back against them more.
But one thing that
chance. That's it. Give him a chance.
Here's the thing we always say in this show, right? We always go in, what's the policy, bro, right? And if the policy meets, like, I don't care what you call yourself, like it says, right? Yeah, like, and we know that the word progressive has definitely been, like, even everybody just like, well, I'm a progressive, and some people think is positive, some people think is negative. But if you looked at it, at his policies, is basically all the policies that we talked about.
Yeah.
So if we support Medicare for all, student loan debt cancellation, the $15 minimum wage, I don't really care if you call yourself a progressive or not, because those are the policies that we always preaching. So, like, I will support him, because now if you go in and say, well, I was for those policy and now I'm not, then we may have people like you said, Richie Torres, who got endorsed by the New York Times. And that dude never supported anything. He just said, I'm a progressive, and people in that district in New York ate it up and voted for him. So yeah, again, I don't really care. His policy meets the things that we are for. I'm all for it.
All right. Good
what if he donates to the CIA Democrats? Would you still support him?
No,
Cancel, baby.
But hey, he
Cancel.
has your policies.
Cancel.
that's not why. Again, that's why now we gave AOC money for.
All right, let's give some
There's not
love to
AOC
the.
talking about.
Let's give some love to the chat on our way out. Love.
Wait,
much
no,
love.
no. We can't go out. We gotta play. You gotta play that Charles Barkley video.
Oh yeah,
We're already
yeah.
up.
Okay,
We're already up in 18 minutes. Another 5 minutes will be fine.
You're right. So guys, give love to the chat room while I bring up that video.
Yeah, because I don't know that video.
The Alan Amberser, real progressives want that $22 an hour. It's for sure. It was $15 6 years ago, and now it should at this point already be probably over 20. Don't support garbage candidates. I don't care what team they play for. That's exactly my policy, brother. Do they support the not me, us platform, or their corporate progressive dumpster candidate? And sometimes we don't know. We don't know until they get in.
That's a new one, Progressor Turf.
Yep. What else do we got? Joe Manchin, of course. We already know who he is. Garbage. What else?
5 for 40.
And that's it. I mean, there's a ton of heat in the chat today.
That's
Everybody.
the thing. That's what you gotta do. Like even the whole 50,000 student debt. Like you fight for 50, and if we get 30, we got 30. Like not 10. Like 10 is garbage. Yeah. But if you get 30, yeah, we're gonna be like upset. But we got 30. Like you gotta go high and then let them come in.
Yeah.
Like
you're 100% right. But the reason why I don't get all flustered and upset about it is that because I know they won't, because that's not what they want anyway. So I can't get mad for them for not fighting for something that I want if I know that they don't want it. They're corporate. They don't want the people that fund their campaigns to lose money. Same with the insurance companies. They don't want Medicare for all because the insurance companies are going to end up losers with that legislation. Even if the whole country wins, the people that fund them don't win. So that's why, for me, the number one issue is really money in politics, because a lot of the stuff that we want, they'll solve themselves because the people will vote for the candidates that they want and not the candidates that happen to have more money to put in ads and get more name recognition.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, I got the video queued up here. Let me go ahead and play it.
Shared that news, how painful it was.
Yeah, but the one thing I took out of that piece was, man, I think most white people and black people are great people. I really believe that in my heart. But I think our system is set up where our politicians, whether they're Republicans or Democrats, are designed to make us not like each other so they can keep their grasp of money and power. They divide and conquer. I truly believe in my heart most white people and black people are awesome people, but we're so stupid following our politicians, whether they're Republicans or Democrats. And their only job is, hey, let's make these people not like each other. We don't live in their neighborhoods. We all got money. Let's make the whites and blacks not like each other. Let's make rich people and poor people not like each other. Let's scramble the middle class. I truly believe that in my heart.
Shared that.
Yeah, so what you guys think about that one?
You see what I think?
Well, see, this is Carlito. Yeah, he's a canceller. So what happens with Carlito is that because Charles Barkley has not been the best in the past, he won't give him credit in this situation.
No, I don't give him credit in this situation because I don't agree with this situation.
You don't agree with that?
No, I don't, because he's saying the politicians, he's saying the same thing that a lot of people don't care about nuance and policy say, that they're the same on both sides, when obviously they're not. They're not the same. Republicans are the ones that are pushing all the hateful legislation for the voters in Georgia. It's not Democrats, so he can't say it's both. Republicans were the one that didn't want Biden elected. Republicans are the one that caused the insurrection. So he can't say it's both, okay? So that's why I disagree with him. And, I like Barkley. He says a lot of crap sometimes. But, in this situation, just this specifically, I disagree completely, because he's saying both parties are the same, when it's not true.
No. He's saying that what we're saying is people are stupid because we continue to follow these politicians regardless of the party line. And we continue to...
What did he say? He said both politicians, both sides want to keep us hating each other.
Yeah,
he said that, and I disagree with that. It's not true.
Democrats will tell you about Republicans. We tell you all the time. We tell you all the time about Republicans. How terrible.
Literally, the Democratic platform was the Republicans suck and let's vote against them, and that's the only platform we have. Instead of
on policy,
here are the
policy
things that we're gonna get for you.
On policies, we got different parties with different policies, but only one party is about hate and fear all the time. You know, the only thing about fear that, you know, helped Biden was fear of Trump, but that's because Trump was really hateful person and wanted everybody deported. He wanted black people dead. He wanted brown people dead. Okay. Who's the party that's always taking away voter rights? Who's the party that's having more incarceration when it comes to the consent decrees that, you know, we make, you know, do a little step, you know, say what you want to say about Obama, whatever. But we had some consent decrees for things like in Missouri after Mike Brown, because the police department was obviously racist. Trump came in, took them all out. You know,
who's the party that created the crime bill? And who's the party that...
What did I just say? What did I just say? I mentioned specific situation, man. It's levels, man. It's levels. You can't say this party did this way. That's the same thing as saying the Republicans saying that, you know, we're the party of Lincoln.
Yeah, all right. I want to go to Gabe, and then I want to go to that E. Heller. She just put. That person put. By the way, E. Heller, are you a female or male? Let me know. But go ahead, Gabe.
E. Heller's a dude. That's my boy.
Okay, dude. Okay, cool.
He let me know.
Okay, cool.
You know, now Alan said, now they stupid, but life was engineered for people to be distracted in a greater overall government policies that affect them. Now I agree with this. Both parties are okay with the distraction. Both parties are okay with the distraction. But not both parties are trying to make us hate each other.
But okay, Gabe, I'm gonna go to you in a second. But I just wanted to point out what E. Heller said, and he was saying how MSNBC and Fox News are hate machines. And there's a book called Hate Inc. by Matt Taibbi that talks specifically about that. That's how they get their ratings. They try to make sure that you hate the other, and that's what they've been doing. Go ahead, Gabe.
So I completely disagree with Carlitos. The problem with the Democrats is that the Democratic Party will say they're for all these things, and then they won't pass it. They get the power, they get the three branches of government, and then they don't pass anything. It happened with Obama. It's happening now. And I almost rather see the people that hate me to my face than the people that want to keep people in oppression and say they don't. I'd rather see the liar, the one that's going to up front say, I'm going to do this to you, and I feel this way, than the Democrats who don't want a living wage. They tell you they do, but they don't. They tell you they want $15 minimum wage. Our vice president says she wants a $15 minimum wage. Our president says he wants a $15 minimum wage, and they have every power to do it, and they don't do it. And they tell you wait for the next one.
Okay, there's levels. There's levels.
The next one.
You're trying to say because they don't pass it. You're saying that they don't pass things, but the point was that he was saying they want us to hate each other. That's, you know, by saying that they, even whether they pass it or not, first point, they are at least not saying they want us to hate each other. So that already makes the whole point moot. Okay, they don't want us to hate each other because they want to pass these bills. And then second of all, they actually want to pass some of these bills. They don't want to pass everything. It's what I said about weak source policies. They don't want to completely get rid of, you know, everything of corporate power, but they do throw us crumbs and things every once in a while. So we can't say that it's the same. We can't say they completely hate us. You know, they just weak.
So you sit here and you go to say that both parties don't play the same game.
Of course not, because obviously Republicans are better at politics.
Yeah, but they play the same game. They play the same game with people. Like
the Republicans play a better game, but the Democrats. The point is, it's about the hating each other.
So it's BS. You know, you get politicians like Ro Khanna that'll go on Fox News. You get Tulsi Gabbard that'll go on Fox News, and they call them every name except the child of God. They call them every single horrible name that you could call them. Bernie Sanders goes on Joe Rogan, and he's the worst person in the world because you try to reach out to a broad thing and unite people, and they call you the worst things. So the problem, they do want you hating each other. They do want you not even to talk. You can't even talk to the other side because they're so deplorable. They have nothing to offer you.
Who's they? There's various opinions on this. Even in the same show between us, there's varying opinions. We disagree on this topic, but I don't say I hate Bernie from going on Fox News or Tulsi for going on Fox News.
Yeah,
so
that's
it's not a monolithic type thing.
But we're talking about the
he was
people in power.
He was generalizing too much.
The whole point of this is, again, like you said, the people in power want us to hate each other. And that's the point that we're making, is that when you get somebody throwing a hand out slightly, trying to find these places where we can work together, they're shunned. They're saying you can't work with them, but at the same time, they have no problem working together, as people were mentioning in the chat earlier, on these defense bombings and on the military industrial complex and on keeping police in power and doing all these things. Those are all the things that are going to continue to oppress people for the next decades. So they might say on paper, or they might say one thing, but they do want us hating each other, because the Democrats don't want to govern. They don't want to govern. They want.
But that's different from wanting us to hate each other. That's different.
The Democrats want us to hate each other because then they could get in and they don't have to do anything, because the other side is so.
But how are they doing it?
And
Talk about you saying what you think, but how are they doing it? Who is the one talking hate? Who is the one specifically spewing hate on TV?
You don't have to say hateful words to have a strategy. They're talking about the strategy. He's saying they don't say it out loud.
He was generalizing.
He was exactly.
The Democrat goes out there and tell you that corporations steal and don't pay taxes and do all this and do the blah blah blah, and they want you to don't dislike all this corporation, but they don't do anything to fix it because this is a corporation that's giving them the money.
But then
that's the point right there.
What they do is like they give them a little bit. They say like, okay, we don't like it at 21, but we'll bring it to 28. So they do little things. They don't do enough, but they do little things. Meanwhile, Republicans, they want it to go even lower. So again, it's levels. You can't say, at most, I'll give you, they want us to, maybe not love each other, but to say that they want us to hate each other, it's only one party.
It's like what Gabe said. It's like, Trump will tell you like, yes, I'm a racist, deal with it. And Biden will be like, no, I'm not a racist because I have a black friend, when we all know that we'll have it. So at the end of the day, like, they play the same game, and we could agree to disagree. And, he was just using a general term, but I agree with, like, they do play that same game, and that's what they're.
It's the parliamentarians' fault.
So I think that there are levels to this. So if you talking about your fellow, so for example, at my job, I'm really cool with the guy who considers himself a Republican, and I've talked to him about different things, and we found that we have in common a lot more than what you would find out on TV. So for example, audit the Fed. That's something that he was like, as a Republican, he's like, yeah, well, I want to audit the Fed. I was like, well, did you know that Bernie Sanders wanted to team up with Ron Paul to audit the Fed? He's like, oh, I didn't know that. So that's one example. But then if you look at Congress, like, they always seem like they can't work together. But at the other side of things, you see Biden always reaching out his hand. Even with the COVID relief bill, he had those 10 Republicans come to the House, come to the White House to try to talk to them to see where they were at. And they said they only wanted $600 billion or whatever it was. And he knew to say, okay, nah, I'm not going to work with you guys. So would Trump have done that with the Democrats? Nope.
No. So that's it. It's not the same. We can't see. I don't like painting. It's the nuance thing. I don't want to, give credit when due, blame when due, but don't say they're both the same, because it's obviously not the same.
We can agree to disagree.
I'm saying they're both the same. He's saying they both want you to hate each other. There's different levels.
Yeah.
There's different levels. It's not the same. It's not the Republicans are the worst. You want to say that every time. They're the worst. They're terrible. They're horrible. They don't play by the rules. But Democrats are almost as bad. Almost. They're pretty bad because they don't fight for what needs to be fought for.
Correct.
But it's not. A lot of the Republicans is more out of malice a lot of times. Democrats is on just about getting elected and keeping their seats. So the end result is that it's also hurtful, but it's not. They don't come with the intent. Not all of them, of course, but they don't come with the intent to make us hate each other.
All right.
Okay.
All right. So on our way out, I want to just give a shout out to our favorite one of our favorite people. The Elite Whisperer was on this past weekend. Yvette Simpson.
In 2024, make the now. They're talking infrastructure. I just wanted to go back to what Sarah said. Here's the reason why I don't think Republicans are going to support it, no matter how much candy is in this bill. They have set their sights on opposing everything that Biden does because that's how they make the claim that they need to take back control in 2022 and 2024. And that's the reason why I think it was ill-advised for Biden to actually put all the things that Republicans want and moderate Democrats want in this reconciliation bill. Because if we can't go back to the well again, now you've got progressives and most Democrats not being able to get the things that we actually need.
Here's the one thing.
Now they're talking.
And look who was coming in. Look who that.
Oh my God, it was Rahm Emanuel. Oh my God.
It.
Yeah.
The one and only.
Yeah.
Why is she still around?
I had a lot of good clips from her, but I know we got it. We've been doing overtime for a minute, and
this is a great show today, though.
Yeah.
Listen, I just thought of something on this clip. The previous topic.
Go ahead.
Do you ever see in like chats or whatever? Do you see progressives typing in like, I wish I could kill all the liberals and their children. Now we got to get rid of all of them. I mean, all the Republicans and children.
Yeah, wrap it up. That's it.
I'm saying, no, it's see, you don't like that. But on the Republican side, you see the followers saying things like that about liberals. So that tells you who hates who. Because I'm not going around and saying I hate Republicans and I want them all to die and their kids and children. So
at the same time, you want one less concentration camp. If
on
the right,
no. We talking different things. We talking different things. See, if you change and you move it, you talking different things.
Carlito, do you hate Mitch McConnell?
You talking different things.
Carlito, do you hate Mitch McConnell?
Listen, I don't want to chop him up in pieces and sell him to alligator. You know what I'm saying?
Do you hate Mitch McConnell? Yes or no? That's the question.
Hey, Mitch McConnell is a politician. I don't hate Kentucky voters.
Look, Justice Democrats, they just announced their first person that they're endorsing, so I just wanted to shout out that person, Odessa Kelly. So we're going to see, she's primary and a moderate Democrat, so that's going to be interesting. So with that said, much love to everybody. Thank you for dealing with my mic issues. I don't know, hopefully I'll figure out what's going on, but much love to everybody. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. Let's give the chat room some love to shut out the people in the chat as we leave.
Thank you, Sage Master on Twitch. Some comments.
E. Heller, Alan Ambrister.
Carlito's dodging the. I ain't dodging no
question.
Yeah,
you are. You dodged the question. It's all right.
I ain't dodged no damn question.
Yeah, you did.
Because we're talking about hating each other, and Alan said hate a politician, not a human. Yo, I don't think Mitch is a human. I don't like to say I hate. There's a few things that I hate. NCAA is one of them. OKC Thunder is another one. I also hate Mitch McConnell.
Yeah, you go. Finally got the question.
That's a good note to end on. That's a good note to end on.
Nancy hating each other. Hating each other. All right, that's what Barkley said. The people hating each other.
Nancy Venture, Holly Horn, Erica was in the chat. Who else? Much love to everybody. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that. Progressive Junkies, we are out of here. Adios.